Empowering women, the key to building the future we want. If we want a better world, a stronger future, a society that thrives, there's one thing we can't ignore: empowering women. Not as an afterthought, not as a nice idea, but as the foundation of everything we want to build. Because when women rise, everything rises. Families, businesses, economies, everything. But here's the problem: society still holds women back. Pay gaps, fewer opportunities, stereotypes that should have died decades ago. And the crazy part, when women are empowered, everybody wins. So today, let's talk about why empowering women is the key to the future, and why we need to stop talking and start acting. Why women hold the key to a better future. Think about this: women make up half of the world's population, half. Now imagine building a house, but you only use half the bricks. How strong do you think that house will be? Weak, unstable, bound to fall apart. That's exactly what happens when we hold women back. We limit our growth, our progress, our potential. But when women get equal education, leadership roles, fair pay, everything shifts. Families get stronger, communities grow, economies boom. One proof: studies show that countries with more women in leadership have better economies, lower poverty, and higher stability. So why are we still making it harder for women to succeed? Breaking the cycle. It starts with us. Let's be real. Change won't happen overnight, but it starts with us. Support women, own businesses, encourage young girls to dream bigger, speak up against discrimination at work, at school, anywhere. Push for equal pay, equal rights, equal opportunities. Because when we lift women up, we lift up the world. The future we want, it doesn't exist without empowered women. So don't just believe in change, be the reason for it. It's that simple. If you agree, share this message. Because the more people who understand this, the faster we create the world we all deserve. Half the world's population are women. Just think about that for a second. Half. That means every second person you see, every other voice you hear, every other mind filled with ideas, dreams, and potential is a woman. But here's the shocking part. For centuries, society has acted like they don't matter as much. Imagine a sports team where half the players are forced to sit on the bench, even though they're just as skilled, just as strong, just as ready to play. How crazy would that be? That's exactly what happens when we hold women back. We're not just limiting them, we're limiting the entire world. Because when women rise, everything around them rises too. Families grow stronger, communities thrive, businesses flourish, economies boom. It's a chain reaction. Studies have shown that when women are given equal opportunities in education, leadership, and business, entire countries see massive improvements in wealth, health, and stability. Yet, despite all the proof, we still see women being treated as less than, less capable, less valuable, less deserving. But let's be real, that's a lie. Women don't just deserve equality, they are essential to progress. So why are we still holding them back? Why are we still acting like the world can reach its full potential while ignoring half of its power? It's time to wake up, because the future we dream of, the future we need, won't exist without empowered women. Half the world's population are women. Just think about that for a second. That means every second person you meet, every other voice in the room, every other mind filled with dreams, ideas, and potential is a woman. Yet, for centuries, society has acted like they don't matter as much, like their voices are softer, their ideas are smaller, their dreams are secondary. But why? Imagine trying to build a house, but you're only allowed to use half the bricks. Would that house be strong? Would it stand the test of time? Of course not. It would be weak, unstable, and guaranteed to collapse. That's exactly what happens when women aren't given the same opportunities as men. We're not just holding them back, we're holding back the entire world. When women rise, everything rises. Families become stronger, communities grow, businesses thrive, economies boom. This isn't an opinion, it's a fact. Studies have proven that when women have access to education, jobs, and leadership roles, entire countries become wealthier, healthier, and more stable. And yet, millions of women are still being denied these opportunities. The world talks about progress, about growth, about making things better for the next generation. But how can we talk about the future when we're still leaving half the world behind? Women don't just deserve equality, they are essential to success. Their potential isn't something to be debated or questioned, it's something to be unleashed. So ask yourself, if we truly want a better future, why are we still ignoring the power of women? Why are we still acting like the world can move forward while half of its people are held back? It's time to stop just talking about change. It's time to make it happen. Education isn't just about books and exams. It's about power. It's about opportunity. It's about breaking free from limits that society has placed for generations. And when a woman is educated, everything around her changes. Think about it. An educated woman doesn't just improve her own life. She transforms the future of her entire family. She raises children who are healthier, smarter, and more confident. She makes better financial decisions. She contributes to her community in ways that can break the cycle of poverty forever. Now, here's the shocking part. 130 million girls around the world are not in school. That's 130 million minds filled with ideas that will never be heard. 130 million dreams put on hold. 130 million futures being held back simply because they were born female. And the craziest thing, when girls are educated, everyone benefits. Studies show that countries with higher female education levels have lower poverty, stronger economies, and longer life expectancy. It's not just good for women, it's good for the entire world. So why are so many girls still being denied something so basic? Why do we still see child marriages, schools that only accept boys, and families that pull their daughters out of class because they think education is wasted on a girl? The truth is, educating a woman is one of the most powerful investments in the future because when she learns, she teaches. When she grows, she lifts others with her. And when she succeeds, the world succeeds. So the real question is, why aren't we doing more? They don't just chase power, they use it to uplift others. So why do we still see leadership as something women have to earn while men are handed the opportunity without question? Why do we still hear things like, she's too emotional to lead, when studies show that emotional intelligence is one of the most important traits of a great leader? The world is evolving and leadership needs to evolve with it. Women aren't asking for a seat at the table, they're building their own tables. And the sooner we stop resisting it, the faster we'll create a future that actually works for everyone. Imagine walking past $28 trillion just sitting on the ground, untouched. Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what's happening when we fail to close the gender gap in the workforce. Studies show that if women had equal access to jobs, opportunities, and fair pay, the global economy could grow by $28 trillion. That's not just a small boost, it's an economic revolution. Here's the reality. Women are not less capable. They are not less hardworking. They are not less intelligent. And yet they are still paid less than men for doing the exact same job. They are still underrepresented in high-paying fields. They are still overlooked for promotions, even when they're just as, if not more, qualified. But when women are given equal opportunities, businesses thrive. Companies with more women in leadership don't just perform better, they make higher profits. Economies with more working women don't just grow, they become more stable, more innovative, more powerful. And when women have more money, they reinvest it back into their families, their communities, and future generations. So why is the world still ignoring hard facts? Why are we still acting like paying women fairly is some kind of favor, when in reality, it's the smartest financial move any company, any country, any society can make? The truth is simple. When women win, everyone wins. The question is, how much longer are we going to keep holding ourselves back? A healthy family isn't just about good food on the table or a roof over their heads. It's about knowledge, choices, and opportunities. And do you know who plays a massive role in shaping that? Women. When women are empowered, educated, and given the right resources, families don't just survive, they thrive. Think about this. When a mother has access to proper health care, her children are more likely to be healthy, well-nourished, and safe from preventable diseases. When a woman is educated, she makes informed decisions about nutrition, hygiene, and medical care. Studies have even shown that children of educated mothers are twice as likely to live past the age of 5. That's the power of knowledge. It saves lives. And it doesn't stop there. An empowered woman raises empowered children. She teaches them confidence. She encourages them to dream bigger, work harder, and break free from the limitations society tries to place on them. Whether it's a son or a daughter, they grow up understanding equality, respect, and ambition. And that cycle continues for generations. But here's the problem. Millions of women around the world are still denied basic rights. They don't have access to health care. They don't have control over their own bodies. They are forced into situations where they can't protect or provide for their own children. And when women are held back, entire families suffer. The truth is, empowering women isn't just about helping women. It's about building stronger families, healthier children, and a better future for everyone. Because when a woman has the power to choose, learn, and lead, she changes the entire world around her. Money isn't just money. It's freedom. It's security. It's the power to make choices. And here's something most people don't realize. When a woman earns, she doesn't just spend it on herself. She reinvests 90% of her income back into her family and community. 90%. Compare that to men who typically reinvest only about 30 to 40%. That's a massive difference. Now think about what that actually means. It means that when women have financial independence, their children eat better, get better health care, and stay in school longer. It means that local businesses grow because women spend their money supporting others. It means entire communities break free from the cycle of poverty because one empowered woman lifts up everyone around her. But here's the problem. Women around the world still don't have equal access to. And when women are held back, entire families suffer. The truth is, empowering women isn't just about helping women. It's about building stronger families, healthier children, and a better future for everyone. Because when a woman has the power to choose, learn, and lead, she changes the entire world around her. Money isn't just money. It's freedom. It's security. It's the power to make choices. And here's something most people don't realize. When a woman earns, she doesn't just spend it on herself. She reinvests 90% of her income back into her family and community. 90%. Compare that to men who typically reinvest only about 30 to 40%. That's a massive difference. Now think about what that actually means. It means that when women have financial independence, their children eat better, get better health care, and stay in school longer. It means that local businesses grow because women spend their money supporting others. It means entire communities break free from the cycle of poverty because one empowered woman lifts up everyone around her. But here's the problem. Women around the world still don't have equal access to financial opportunities. They are paid less. They struggle to get loans to start businesses. In some places, they can't even open a bank account without permission. Just imagine that. Needing someone else's approval to control your own money. And yet, when women do get equal financial opportunities, the results are undeniable. More businesses are created. More jobs are generated. Entire economies become stronger. And the best part, it doesn't just benefit women, it benefits everyone. So the real question isn't whether empowering women financially is the right thing to do. The real question is, why haven't we done it sooner? Think about the biggest inventions, the biggest breakthroughs, the biggest game changers in history. Now imagine if half of the world's population had been excluded from contributing to them. That's exactly what's been happening in science, technology, engineering, and math, fields that literally shape the future. Women make up half the population, but in STEM, they're barely represented. Not because they aren't capable, not because they aren't brilliant, but because for years, society told them, sounds unfair, right? Well, that's the reality for millions of women around the world. They do the same job as men, sometimes even better, but still walk away with a smaller paycheck. And the craziest part, this isn't just happening in one country or one industry, it's everywhere. The gender pay gap isn't just a number, it's a message. It's the world saying, your work isn't worth as much. And that message has consequences. When women are paid less, they have less money to invest in themselves, their education, their families. Less money for health care, for businesses, for securing a better future. It keeps them stuck in a cycle where no matter how hard they work, they're always one step behind. But here's the thing. Closing the pay gap isn't just about fairness. It's about the economy. Studies show that if women were paid equally, global wealth would skyrocket. More money in women's hands means more spending, more investments, and stronger economies. Countries that have worked to close the pay gap have seen faster growth, lower poverty rates, and higher productivity. So why is this still an issue? Why are women still being paid less for the same work in 2025? 1 in 3. Imagine if that statistic applied to men. Would the world react differently? The truth is, a society where women don't feel safe is a society that isn't truly free. How can we talk about progress when half the population has to plan their day around avoiding danger? How can we talk about equality when women are still told to be careful instead of men being taught to respect? This isn't just a women's issue, it's a human issue, because when women are safe, communities are safer, families are stronger. The world becomes a place where everyone, regardless of gender, can live without fear. And that's the kind of future we should all be fighting for. Opportunities should be based on talent, hard work, and dedication, not on gender. But even today, in 2025, women still face barriers in careers, leadership, and financial independence. Not because they aren't qualified, but because of outdated mindsets that keep holding them back. Think about this. How many times have you heard someone say, she's too ambitious, she should focus on family, or that's a man's job? But they build a world where women are constantly underestimated, passed over for promotions, and expected to prove themselves over and over again just to get the same recognition as a man. And that needs to stop. The truth is, when women have equal access to opportunities, entire industries grow, companies become more innovative, workplaces become more productive, and economies thrive. Studies have proven it. The more women in a workforce, the stronger the economy. And yet, millions of women are still stuck in lower paid jobs, still struggling to get funding for their businesses, still fighting for a seat at the table. And it's not just about businesses, it's about dreams. How many young girls are growing up believing they can't be CEOs, engineers, scientists, or leaders just because they don't see enough women in those roles? How many brilliant minds are being held back by a system that wasn't designed for them to succeed? Here's the reality. When opportunities are truly equal, everyone wins. More innovation, more success, more progress. This isn't about giving women a chance, but they build a world where women are constantly underestimated, passed over for promotions, and expected to prove themselves over and over again just to get the same recognition as a man. And that needs to stop. The truth is, when women have equal access to opportunities, entire industries grow, companies become more innovative, workplaces become more productive, and economies thrive. Studies have proven it. The more women in a workforce, the stronger the economy. And yet, millions of women are still stuck in lower paid jobs, still struggling to get funding for their businesses, still fighting for a seat at the table. And it's not just about businesses, it's about dreams. How many young girls are growing up believing they can't be CEOs, engineers, scientists, or leaders just because they don't see enough women in those roles? How many brilliant minds are being held back by a system that wasn't designed for them to succeed? Here's the reality. When opportunities are truly equal, everyone wins. More innovation, more success, more progress. This isn't about giving women a chance. It's about removing the barriers that never should have been there in the first place. Access to healthcare isn't a luxury, it's a basic human right. Yet for millions of women around the world, getting proper medical care is still a daily struggle. Not because they don't need it, not because they don't deserve it, but because the system wasn't built to prioritize their health. Think about it. Women are the backbone of families, the pillars of communities, the caregivers, the nurturers. And yet, when it comes to their own health, they are often the last in line. In many parts of the world, women still die from preventable diseases simply because they don't have access to proper medical treatment. They suffer through illnesses that could have been detected early. They experience complications during childbirth that could have been avoided with the right care. And here's something even more shocking. Women's health issues are often under-researched, underfunded, and ignored. Medical studies have historically been conducted on men, meaning many treatments and medications don't even take into account. But when a girl is born, in too many places, she's expected to stay home, take care of the family, and prepare for marriage instead of chasing her dreams. Schools are too far, too expensive, or simply don't exist for her. And even if she gets the chance to go, she faces barriers at every step. But here's the truth. When a girl is educated, everything changes. She is more likely to earn a higher income, more likely to make better health choices, and more likely to break the cycle of poverty for future generations. Studies show that for every extra year a girl stays in school, her future earnings increase significantly. She gains confidence, independence, and the ability to stand up for herself and her choices. And this doesn't just help her, it helps entire communities. Countries that invest in girls' education have stronger economies, lower crime rates, and better health care. When girls are educated, they grow up to become leaders, innovators, and change makers. They don't just change their own lives, they change the world around them. So the question is, why are we still allowing barriers to exist? Why are we still debating something that should be an unquestioned right? But when a girl is born, in too many places, she's expected to stay home, take care of the family, and prepare for marriage instead of chasing her dreams. Schools are too far, too expensive, or simply don't exist for her. And even if she gets the chance to go, she faces barriers at every step. But here's the truth. When a girl is educated, everything changes. She is more likely to earn a higher income, more likely to make better health choices, and more likely to break the cycle of poverty for future generations. Studies show that for every extra year a girl stays in school, her future earnings increase significantly. She gains confidence, independence, and the ability to stand up for herself and her choices. And this doesn't just help her, it helps entire communities. Countries that invest in girls' education have stronger economies, lower crime rates, and better health care. When girls are educated, they grow up to become leaders, innovators, and change makers. They don't just change their own lives, they change the world around them. So the question is, why are we still allowing barriers to exist? Why are we still debating something that should be an unquestioned right? Education isn't just about learning, it's about power. And when we educate girls, we give them the power to shape their own future. Leadership isn't about gender. It's about vision, capability, and the ability to inspire change. Yet even today, women are still underrepresented in leadership roles. Whether it's politics, business, or major industries, the seats at the top are still overwhelmingly occupied by men. Not because women aren't capable, not because they aren't qualified, but because the system wasn't designed for them to succeed. Think about this. How often have we seen a woman in power described as too bossy, too emotional, or too aggressive, while a man showing the same qualities is praised as strong and decisive? The standards are not the same. Women have to work twice as hard, prove themselves over and over, and still face doubts about their leadership abilities simply because of outdated stereotypes. But here's the truth. When women lead, everyone benefits. Companies with more women in leadership roles don't just perform better, they are more innovative, more profitable, and more socially responsible. Countries with more women in government tend to have stronger economies, better policies, and more focus on education and healthcare. Women in leadership bring different perspectives, different ideas, and different solutions. And that's exactly what the world needs. Yet, the barriers remain. Women are still less likely to be promoted, less likely to be given leadership training, and more likely to be overlooked for high-level roles. And when they do make it to the top, they face constant scrutiny, criticism, and expectations that their male counterparts never have to deal with. But the world is changing. More women are stepping up, breaking barriers, and proving that leadership isn't about gender. It's about who is best for the job. The real question is, how much longer will we let outdated biases hold us back? Because when women lead, the future gets stronger. Respect. It's something every human being deserves. Yet for women, it often comes with conditions. You have to dress a certain way. You have to act a certain way. You have to know your place. And if a woman dares to break these unspoken rules, we're not asking for special treatment. We're asking for basic human respect. The right to be heard, the right to be taken seriously, the right to live without constantly having to prove their worth. Because the moment we start giving women the respect they deserve, everyone wins. Confidence. It's what separates those who chase their dreams from those who hold back. But here's the truth. Society has spent years breaking women's confidence before they even get a chance to build it. From a young age, girls are taught to be careful, be quiet, be agreeable. They are told to not take up too much space, not speak too loudly, not be too ambitious. Meanwhile, boys are encouraged to take risks, be bold, and go after what they want. And this difference, it follows women into adulthood. How many women hesitate before asking for a raise? How many brilliant ideas never get shared in meetings because a woman second guesses herself? How many women say, I'm not ready, while men in the same situation say, I'll figure it out? This isn't about ability, it's about conditioning. Society has taught women to doubt themselves, and it's time to unlearn that. They create businesses, they invest in education, they inspire the next generation. And most importantly, they show the world that they don't need to be saved because they can save themselves. Representation matters. What we see shapes what we believe is possible. Yet for too long, women, especially women of different races, backgrounds, and identities, have been pushed to the sidelines, overlooked, and underrepresented. Turn on the TV, open a history book, look at the leadership in major industries. Who do you see the most? Men. Men as the heroes, men as the CEOs, men as the decision makers. And when women do appear, they're often portrayed in limited, predictable roles. The supportive wife, the assistant, the one who exists in the background. And that sends a message that tells young girls, this isn't your place, this isn't your world to lead. But here's the truth. When women are represented, everything changes. When little girls see female scientists, they believe they can cure diseases. When young women see female CEOs, they know they can build empires. When women of all backgrounds see leaders who look like them, they stop doubting if they belong. And this isn't just about media or leadership. It's about every industry, every space, every opportunity. Women need to be seen and heard in politics, in business, in sports, in technology, in every field that shapes the future. Because visibility is power. The more women are represented, the more the world understands that leadership, success, and influence have no gender. And let's be clear. This isn't about replacing men. It's about making room for everyone. It's about breaking the cycle where women have to fight twice as hard just to be noticed. Because when women see themselves represented, they don't just dream bigger, they take action. And that's how change happens. Subdued is something everyone needs. But for women, it's often seen as a luxury, not a necessity. Society expects women to be strong, to handle everything on their own, to juggle work, family, responsibilities, and still never complain. But here's the truth. No one succeeds alone. How many times have we heard, she's doing fine, she doesn't need help, but behind closed doors, so many women are struggling to balance their careers with their personal lives, struggling to be taken seriously, struggling to fight battles that no one even sees. And the worst part, they are often expected to just deal with it, while support systems are rare, weak, or non-existent. But when women lift each other up, when they have strong networks, when they are given the right resources, everything changes. A woman with support is a woman who doesn't have to choose between success and her well-being. She doesn't have to stay silent when she faces injustice. She doesn't have to feel like she's in this fight alone. And this isn't just about individual women, it's about society as a whole. Workplaces need to support women through fair policies. Families need to support women by sharing responsibilities. Communities need to support women by creating environments where they feel safe, valued, and empowered. Because when women are supported, they don't just rise, they bring others up with them. The question is, are we creating a world where women are truly supported? Or are we still expecting them to fight their battles alone? Because one thing is clear, when women have real support, there is no limit to what they can achieve. Opportunities. That's what separates those who succeed from those who struggle. But here's the harsh reality. Women have always had to fight for opportunities that men are simply given. Not because they aren't capable, not because they aren't ambitious, but because the doors that should be open for everyone are often locked for them. Think about this. How many times have we seen a job posting where women meet 90% of the qualifications but still hesitate to apply, while men with only 60% go for it without a second thought? Why? Because women have been conditioned to believe that they have to be twice as good, twice as prepared, and twice as perfect just to be considered. And even when they do get the opportunity, they're questioned, doubted, and underestimated every step of the way. But here's what happens when women are given real opportunities. They don't just succeed, they excel. Companies with more women in leadership make more money. Communities with more women in business become stronger. Countries that invest in women grow faster. The data's there. When women rise, everyone benefits. Yet, barriers still exist. Women are still paid less for the same work. They are still passed over for promotions. They are still expected to prove themselves over and over again in ways that men never have to. And if they ask for what they deserve, they're called demanding. If they negotiate, they're called difficult. If they fight for their space, they're called aggressive. The truth is, talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not. And that needs to change. Because when women are given the same chances, the same resources, and the same respect as men, they don't just break barriers. They build a future where no one has to fight for what should have been theirs all along. Safety. It's a basic human right, yet for millions of women around the world, it's still a privilege. Think about that for a second. A woman walking home at night has to clutch her keys, look over her shoulder, and pray she makes it home safe. A woman in a toxic relationship has to choose between staying in fear or leaving with nowhere to go. So the real question is, when will we stop making women responsible for their own safety and start making the world a safer place for them? Because until that happens, we're not just failing women, we're failing as a society. Education, it's the most powerful tool for change. Yet for centuries, women have been denied access to it. Not because they weren't capable, not because they didn't want to learn, but because society feared what an educated woman could do. Because knowledge is power. And when women are educated, they become unstoppable, unstoppable. Imagine a world where every girl had the chance to go to school without barriers. No being pulled out for household work. No being told education is only for boys. No being forced into marriage before she even gets the chance to dream. That world will look very different from the one we live in now. Because when women are educated, they break cycles of poverty. They create businesses. They lead. They invent. They transform entire nations. But here's the problem. Millions of girls are still being left behind. Schools exist, but they can't reach them. But because of a system that has been unfair for generations, it continues to be. Think about this. A man and a woman start the same job on the same day with the same qualifications. Fast forward a few years, and somehow the man is making more. How? Maybe he was given more raises because he asked for them. Maybe he was promoted faster because he seems more confident. Maybe the woman took time off to have a child, and instead of being supported, she was penalized for it. And if a woman speaks up about the pay gap, she's told she should be grateful to have a job at all. She's called difficult. She's seen as a problem. But why is fighting for fairness considered a problem? Why should a woman have to work harder, prove herself more, and negotiate more aggressively just to be paid what she should have been getting in the first place? And this isn't just about money, it's about respect. A paycheck is more than numbers on paper. It's a reflection of how much a person's work is valued. And when women are paid less, they're being told, your work is worth less. But that's a lie. Because a woman's effort, talent, and dedication are just as valuable as a man's. But because of a system that has been unfair for generations, it continues to be. Think about this. A man and a woman start the same job on the same day with the same qualifications. Fast forward a few years, and somehow the man is making more. How? Maybe he was given more raises because he asked for them. Maybe he was promoted faster because he seems more confident. Maybe the woman took time off to have a child, and instead of being supported, she was penalized for it. And if a woman speaks up about the pay gap, she's told she should be grateful to have a job at all. She's called difficult. She's seen as a problem. But why is fighting for fairness considered a problem? Why should a woman have to work harder, prove herself more, and negotiate more aggressively just to be paid what she should have been getting in the first place? And this isn't just about money, it's about respect. A paycheck is more than numbers on paper. It's a reflection of how much a person's work is valued. And when women are paid less, they're being told, your work is worth less. But that's a lie. Because a woman's effort, talent, and dedication are just as valuable as a man's. They already are. The real question is, when will the world stop questioning it? Because the future doesn't belong to just one gender. It belongs to those who are ready to build it. And women, they've been ready all along. Representation, it's more than just a seat at the table. It's about being seen, being heard, and knowing that you belong. But for far too long, women have been left out of the picture. Turn on the TV, look at the top executives, check the history books. Who do you see? Mostly men. And it's not because women weren't there working, leading, and making history. It's because they weren't given the recognition they deserved. When women don't see themselves in leadership, in politics, in business, in science, it sends a silent message. This isn't for you. When young girls grow up watching only men making decisions, they start to believe that's just the way it is. But here's the thing. Representation isn't just about inspiration. It's about access. It's about opportunity. It's about power. When women are in politics, policies change to support families, healthcare, and education. When women are in business, workplaces become more inclusive and fair. Energy and contributions. It's about men stepping up at home, businesses creating real policies that help women grow, and communities making sure no woman is left behind. Because here's the truth. When women are supported, they don't just succeed, they soar. They build businesses, they lead communities, they raise future generations with strength and confidence. And when women rise, the world rises with them. So the question isn't whether women deserve support. The question is, why aren't they getting it? Because a world that truly values women isn't the one that just praises them. It's the one that stands beside them, lifts them up, and makes sure they have everything they need to win. Health. It's the foundation of everything. Without it, nothing else matters. But for too long, women's health has been ignored, overlooked, and even dismissed. Not because women's health issues don't exist, but because the world hasn't treated them as a priority. How many times have women been told, it's just in your head, it's normal, you're overreacting? Women go to doctors with real pain and are sent home with nothing but advice to relax. When women are in media, the stories being told become more real, more diverse, and more powerful. Representation changes everything. It breaks stereotypes. It challenges old ideas. It creates a world where no girl grows up thinking she has to shrink herself to fit in. Because when women take up space, when they step into roles where decisions are made, they don't just change their own lives, they change the future for every woman who comes after them. So the question isn't, do women belong here? The real question is, why did it take so long for the world to realize they always did? Because when women are seen, heard, and truly represented, the world becomes stronger, smarter, and more unstoppable than ever before. Big support. It's the one thing every person needs to thrive. But for too long, women have been expected to do it all, without enough support, without enough resources, and without enough recognition. They juggle careers, families, responsibilities, and expectations, yet they're told to handle it all as if asking for help is a weakness. Think about it. A man focuses on his career, he's ambitious. But when a man reports the same symptoms, he gets tests, treatments, real solutions. This isn't a coincidence. It's a system that wasn't designed to take women's health seriously. And it's not just about medical care. It's about access. Millions of women still don't have the health care they need. They don't have the right to make choices about their own bodies. They can't afford treatments. They don't get maternity leave. They're expected to take care of everyone else while being told to put themselves last. But here's the truth. When women's health is prioritized, everything gets better. Families are stronger, communities are healthier, economies grow. Because a woman who has access to proper health care is a woman who can show up fully in her life. She can work, she can dream, she can build a future without being held back by something that should have never been a struggle in the first place. So why is it still this way? Why is women's health treated like an afterthought when it should have been a priority all along? Because the moment the world truly values women's well-being, everything changes. And the truth is that change is long overdue. It's overdue. It's a basic human right. They're called dramatic. When they demand justice, they're told to move on. But here's the truth. Women deserve to live without fear. They deserve to move freely, speak loudly, and exist without being treated as a target. And the real question isn't, what can women do to stay safe? The real question is, when will the world make sure they don't have to ask that question at all? Education. It's the most powerful weapon in the world. It opens doors, creates opportunities, and changes lives. Yet for millions of women and girls, education is still a privilege, not a right. Not because they aren't capable, not because they don't want to learn, but because society has placed barriers in their way. In some parts of the world, girls are pulled out of school to take care of their families. They are told their place is in the home, not the classroom. In other places, education is too expensive, and when choices have to be made, boys are sent to school while girls are left behind. And even in places where girls do have access to education, they face discrimination, lack of support, and systems that weren't built for them to succeed. But here's the truth. When you educate a woman, you don't just change her life, you change an entire generation. An educated woman earns more, raises healthier children, and contributes to her community in ways that uplift everyone. She creates businesses, she makes discoveries, she becomes a leader. So why is it that even today, in the 21st century, millions of girls are still denied this basic right? Why do we still have to fight for something that should have never been a question? Because when women are educated, they become unstoppable. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly why some people are afraid of letting them learn. Equal pay, it sounds so simple. Equal work, equal pay. But even today, women around the world are still paid less than men for doing the same job. Not because they work less, not because they are less skilled, but because the system was never built to value their work the same way a man walks into a job interview and negotiates his salary. He's confident. A woman does the same, she's demanding. A man gets a raise, he earns it. A woman asks for one, she should be grateful for what she has. But because the world has spent centuries telling them leadership isn't for them. Think about it. When a man is strong, decisive, and assertive, he's a leader. When a woman does the same, she's bossy, aggressive, or too much. A man is expected to lead. A woman, she has to prove over and over again that she even belongs in the room. And when she finally gets there, she's judged harder, criticized more, and expected to be twice as good just to be seen as equal. But here's what history keeps proving. When women lead, the world gets better. Companies perform stronger. Governments make smarter decisions. Communities thrive. Because women bring new perspectives, new solutions, and a leadership style that focuses on collaboration, empathy, and long-term success. So why are there still so few women in leadership? Not because they aren't capable, but because the system wasn't designed for them to succeed. Because for too long, the world has been comfortable with men making the decisions. But that comfort has come at a cost. Missed opportunities, slower progress, and a world that doesn't benefit from the full potential of its people. But because the world has spent centuries telling them leadership isn't for them. Think about it. When a man is strong, decisive, and assertive, he's a leader. When a woman does the same, she's bossy, aggressive, or too much. A man is expected to lead. A woman, she has to prove over and over again that she even belongs in the room. And when she finally gets there, she's judged harder, criticized more, and expected to be twice as good just to be seen as equal. But here's what history keeps proving. When women lead, the world gets better. Companies perform stronger. Governments make smarter decisions. Communities thrive. Because women bring new perspectives, new solutions, and a leadership style that focuses on collaboration, empathy, and long-term success. So why are there still so few women in leadership? Not because they aren't capable, but because the system wasn't designed for them to succeed. Because for too long, the world has been comfortable with men making the decisions. But that comfort has come at a cost. Missed opportunities, slower progress, and a world that doesn't benefit from the full potential of its people. The truth is, women don't need permission to lead. They've been leading all along. The only question left is, when will the world finally step aside and let them take their rightful place? The future we want cannot exist without women. It cannot be built on inequality, silence, or the belief that half the world's population should settle for less. Women are not asking for special treatment. They are demanding what should have been theirs all along: respect, opportunity, safety, and a world that values them as much as it values men. For too long, progress has been slow, not because change is impossible, but because those in power have been too comfortable with the way things are. But here's the truth. A world that empowers women is a world that thrives. It's a world where every girl grows up knowing she is capable of anything, where no woman is told she is less than, where leadership, education, and success have nothing to do with gender and everything to do with talent and hard work. Imagine a world where every girl has the chance to dream without barriers, where she is not told what she can or cannot do based on outdated traditions. They are forced into child marriages, pulled out of school to care for their families, or simply told that education is not for them. This is not just a loss for those girls, it's a loss for the world. Because when you educate a woman, you educate a generation. She passes on her knowledge to her children, to her community, and to society as a whole. Safety is non-negotiable. A woman should not have to think twice before walking home at night. She should not have to carry keys between her fingers or look over her shoulder in fear. Yet millions of women live in a world where violence, harassment, and discrimination are everyday realities. This is unacceptable. A society cannot call itself just if half its population lives in fear. Protecting women is not just a women's issue. It is a human issue. It requires everyone to stand up, to speak out, and to demand better. Representation matters. When women are in positions of power, they bring unique perspectives, solutions, and leadership styles that drive progress. Yet they are still vastly underrepresented in politics, business, and decision-making roles. The excuses for this are endless. Women aren't interested. They don't have the experience. It's just the way things are. But these are just that. Excuses. The truth is, when given the opportunity, women excel. They lead with empathy, with vision, and with the ability to create lasting change. The world has seen this time and time again. The more women in leadership, the better our world becomes. But beyond leadership, beyond policies, beyond economic strategies, there is one simple truth. Women deserve to live in a world that sees them as equals, not just in words, but in action, not just in laws, but in culture. True change happens when societies don't just give women rights on paper, but when they enforce those rights, protect them, and actively work to uplift and empower women in every aspect of life. The fight for gender equality is not about making women superior. It is about leveling the playing field. It is about breaking down barriers that never should have existed in the first place. It is about recognizing that the world cannot reach its full potential if half its population is held back. And here's the thing, gender equality benefits men too. It creates a world where men are not pressured to conform to outdated ideas of masculinity.